Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of May the 3rd, 2015. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Well, right at the top of the week, as the week begins, we have a full moon taking place in the sign of Scorpio. Now, this full moon is speaking with Neptune, with Jupiter, and with Pluto. And I actually focused on this full moon for most of the monthly horoscopes for the month of May, and those should be posted right now, would have been posted last week. So please do have a look at that, so that will give you a more complete picture of what to expect this coming week, or at least some of the more dominant energies that are going to be playing out. But I look at this particular full moon. Now, a full moon in Scorpio tends to be pretty intense. You add to this the fact that we've got Jupiter and Neptune speaking with this. It suggests to me that there may be a lot of overconfidence, a dreamy quality, an overreach. In some cases, it'll be a little bit swept off our feet. In some cases, it'll be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. And also with this particular full moon, the thing is that, to me, Scorpio, one of the things that Scorpio is about being deeply honest with ourselves and allowing that to be ultimately what is an alchemical process, allowing that to be the base for true change, to change that thing that ultimately or before has felt heavy or like a burden or like a pain or like something that would never heal. Allowing that to ultimately become our gold, to become the source of great riches in our lives. And so when I see that there's this full moon happening, that is generally an energy that's going to be in the air. But then there's all this dreamy energy with it, which seems to work a little bit counterintuitively, but can actually work really well together. Because it means that we can believe, we can have faith that whatever it is that has held us back before, we can find a way not only to work with it, but also to surpass it, to have it be the thing that launches us towards true wealth of spirit, true wealth of emotion, and of course, practical wealth as well. And I'm especially encouraged by the fact that this full moon is also speaking with Pluto. So the fact that this full moon is speaking with Pluto in harmony suggests to me that even with the overreach, even with the dreams, even with the fantasy, we understand the strategic way forward. We still have that ability to be honest and to understand that anything worth having is worth working for, including having a sense of self, a stronger sense of self, having peace of mind, having clarity, having wisdom. All of these things are worth having and therefore worth making changes to move our lives towards. Now, I gotta say, a part of this energy, and really what's happening just before this full moon peaks or is exact, is that Mercury will stand across the sky from Saturn. Now, Mercury standing across from Saturn tends to play out quite interestingly, but I gotta be honest with you, and I'll always be honest with you. This can be Saturn opposing a planet, especially Saturn opposing one of the what astrologers call the personal planets, can be a feeling that there's some sort of an external pressure, expectation, responsibility, or obligation on us. Now, what is interesting to me about this particular type of conversation, it's what astrologers call an opposition. And sometimes they can play themselves out in our contacts with others, connections with others, relationship with others. So ultimately, it is our own feelings of guilt, of responsibility, of needing to actually show up more, if you will, be more grown up in one area of life that we might end up projecting onto another person. This can also be us taking way too seriously something that was not meant to be as serious as we are taking it. And so there's going to be a need with this because we've got these two energies playing out. We've got lots of really intense emotion coming to the surface, a belief in the ideal, a belief in miracles, a belief in magical turnarounds, but which eventually leads to a need to be strategic. And what we also have is this feeling that maybe there are external forces at play that are sort of sending us messages, if you will, getting us to perceive things that maybe we either haven't wanted to or maybe seem like they are an overbearing way of looking at reality that you necessarily don't want to take on. And so this could be as simple as seeing something online that makes you question what it is that you believe, what it is that you're actually doing, makes you question whether you're kidding yourself or not in some area of life, or it could be an actual interaction as well. But remember, ultimately, how we react is totally something that is based on how we are choosing to interpret any given situation. And so this is going to be really important to remember, because it's very easy under this sky to project things onto others, and through that have some really intense emotions come up, and also through that make some choices that maybe we might not otherwise had we seen things in a little bit more of a balanced perspective. And so there's going to be a need to stay grounded, to take ownership, whatever it is that we feel, and at the same time to believe that things can be awesome if we're willing to work towards however we define that awesomeness. So be kind and gentle to yourself and to others around you, especially in thought, especially in messages, especially in words right about now, because it is so easy right now to take some sort of communication as a criticism when it may not actually be that at all, to take it as some sort of external expectation or obligation when it may not be that way at all as well. And of course, if somebody is sort of telling you who you should be and it doesn't resonate with what you know to be true for you, then you have that choice to say, okay, I'm not going to take this on. This isn't about me. Moving along into the week, we have the Sun speaking with Jupiter. And this is sort of part of a continuation of the full moon speaking with Jupiter as well, in the same type of conversation, a conversation that astrologers call a square. Now, again, this is the overreach. To me, this is overconfidence, an overreach. This is choosing not to see something because you really want things to go really, really well. You want things to go the way you want. And so you're not willing to acknowledge things in a more balanced perspective. This can also be overdoing it, okay? So overdoing it in terms of your effort is one possibility, but also overdoing it in terms of your confidence as well. It's one thing to say, I'm the best. It's awesome, believe that, right? But it's also important to stay grounded in the fact that we all are either doing our best with what we have, with where we are, with our level of consciousness, and also we all are at our best, and really not only doing our best, but capable of the very best as well. And so in a sense, yes, you have that uniqueness, but also we're not unique because we're all unique. And so this is one of the messages that I see playing out. And if you end up seeing somebody who's behaving in a way that is really boisterous or overconfident, you may be surprised that they are actually reflecting something within you, something, some voice within you, or some way that you have been. And so you can't really get too mad at anybody right now if they end up doing some sort of a grand show of dramatics even, because ultimately that is something that is within you. They very likely are mirroring you. And really, as I said, at the start of the week, we have Mercury standing across from Saturn. That's all about the mirror, and that is setting the tone for the week. So that's an important thing to notice. Now, I am of the belief that the entire world, everything that we perceive ultimately is a mirror to what is happening within us. That's how I view the sky as well. And so this is going to be one of those times when that ability to take what's happening externally, to take what you're viewing in others, and to understand it as a reflection of you, to learn from it as a reflection of you, to understand who you want to be as well. All of that can work very nicely for us now as part of our sacred learning. This week also we have the Sun speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto. Now I love this. This is actually one of my favorite celestial events to take place. It takes place about twice a year. And when it takes place, it is a time when we can go for gold. It is a time when we can seize our power and make the kind of impression we want, focus ourselves towards what it is that we desire to achieve or create, and make it happen for ourselves. So lots of cosmic support for going after what you want and making it happen as well, for really understanding what's going to be most effective, and sometimes effective in the moment. What's going to be most effective thing to do, and to summon your resources, to focus yourself to make it happen for you. And so I'm very encouraged by that. As we move along, Venus will change signs. Venus will move into the sign of Cancer this week. Now, enjoy this, okay? As I spoke about in some of the monthly horoscopes as well, Venus will move into Cancer now. And actually, if we go just a little bit back on the 4th, depending on where you are, right around the 4th of the month, Mercury will enter shadow. Okay, so Mercury now is in shadow. As we are having Mercury, one of the first things Mercury was going to do in shadow is speak with Neptune. I'll get to that in just a moment. But Mercury in shadow and Venus moving into Cancer, I think is really important because we will, in a few weeks' time, have Venus move into the sign of Leo. And next month, when Mercury is still in shadow, Venus will enter shadow when she moves into the sign of Leo as part of the upcoming retrograde, which is going to spend an unusually long time in the sign of Leo. And so I've spoken about this for some of the signs in the 2014 horoscopes. I've spoken about this for some of the signs in this month's horoscopes. Really important time that we are approaching now. Lots of rethinking, reconsidering, looking at what was, getting clear on where we have been so we can better decide where it is that we want to go, and also lots of going over old ground as well. And so I gotta say, I look at the sky and we are now going to be entering a time that has a lot more to do about what was and setting things right, ironing out any details, and getting clear personally and in other areas of life as well. So Venus is moving into Cancer. This is what I got to say. Enjoy it. Now, generally, Mercury going into shadow and going retrograde, not necessarily the greatest time to buy things, or to buy new things, to go all out in spending, or to make any kind of major changes in general, because we tend to end up rethinking them or need to go over them again. However, if you are working with Venus energy, then you can negate some of that mercurial energy a little bit. And what I mean by that is Venus is about beauty, right? She is about indulgence. She is about pleasure as well. And so where it is that, like, if you're one of those people who has been, you know, thinking about making a purchase of clothing, of jewelry, provided that all else is fine. Like, and what I mean by that is, provided you're not a Gemini, because if you're a Gemini, Mercury moving into shadow in Gemini certainly negates the Venusian energy. And what I mean by that is, if you want to buy new clothes, buy jewelry, go all out on expensive bottles of wine or expensive chocolate or whatever your certain sort of connoisseurism is, then you can, if you actively choose to align yourself with that Venus energy, do that. But just know that once we get into next month, late next month, Venus will enter shadow, and any kind of shopping and stuff done after that point, you will change your mind. And I've seen this again and again. People get tattoos that they regret. People get a new hairstyle, dramatically different hairstyle that, you know, just does not work for them, especially in the fuller picture. And so, be mindful of those energies. If you keep it aligned with beauty, if you've wanted to try a new hairstyle, I would say sooner rather than later. But again, you know, I like to say it's just hair. It's just hair, so enjoy yourself. So as I mentioned before, and I'll talk a lot more about that in the weeks as we go along as well, and likely you'll see an FAQ coming up soon, sooner rather than later on the upcoming Venus retrograde as well. So finally, late this week, Mercury will speak with Neptune. And this is going to be part of an ongoing dance that Mercury is going to do with Neptune. And so Mercury will, as part of this retrograde, forward, backwards retrograde thing, be dancing along with Neptune, sometimes in precision like now, or sometimes a little bit wider, but still they'll be close enough to be speaking with each other. And I think that this is going to be about checking our assumptions and checking our, not just assumptions, but also really understanding where it is that something might be a little bit too fantastical. Again, going back to this idea of overshooting the mark, maybe we've made plans that actually, now that we look at it in another light, either don't feel right or need more time to flesh out. We're going to be asked not to rush things. That's going to be part of sort of the energy with this as well, is like, okay, I got to make this dream happen, so I got to implement this plan now. I got to do this now. Well, I would say to you that all things, as I recently shared on my online on social media, is that, you know, whether it takes place in a day or whether it takes place in a year, if something's meant to be, it will come to pass. pass. And I think that's going to be part of the sacred learning that all of us are going to be going through with Mercury speaking with Neptune in this way, that ultimately what's meant to be will be. There's no need for us to sort of rush something before it's ready. Don't push before you're ready to really push. Don't launch before something actually truly is ready to be launched. And, recently I saw this documentary that was all about how some guy sort of ruined his career because he was given this really tight deadline and didn't have the ability to say, look, I can't do it within this time frame. I'm going to need a lot more time. He wasn't able to say that, and so he produced a product that ultimately wasn't very good, and so ended up really costing him on a career front. So I just want to say, you don't want to, of course, rest on your laurels, but at the same time, you want to be mindful of working with the universe. And if something is feeling like it needs more time, if something's feeling like you're really overlooking certain things, certain details that you really ought to be paying attention to, you're going to know within. You're going to know in your intuition. This is going to ask us to check that. And we're going to be asked to do that internal checking again and again as the weeks go forward as well. Well, thank you so much to everybody out there for watching the introduction. Love this time with you. Love our interactions. Please do keep them coming. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, my website, nadiyashah.com. Sometimes I'm asked questions that are a little bit more personal, that have to do with your unique situation. Please do consider a personalized horoscope where I can do just that and look at your chart and answer your specific questions. Of course, I thank you so much for your trust. It means so much to me, and thank you so much for being here as well. The whole purpose behind everything that I do, everything that I present to the world, is to affirm in the world that the universe is wise and loving. The universe is wise and loving, and I hope that this video, I hope that this horoscope, and everything that I really share and produce, I hope in some way affirms that to you in your own life as well. Well, how all this wonderful celestial adventures this week speak to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week we have got this full moon happening at the start of the week, which is going to be a big focus for all of us. I spoke about this in the monthly horoscopes, big money focus for you this week. But additionally, what I do like about what's taking place is the fact that we've got this very harmonious conversation between the Sun and Pluto. So the Sun in a money place in your chart as well. Pluto at the very top of your chart, having to do with career, having to do with interviews, having to do with making a great impression, knocking it out of the park, making a power move that goes unbelievably well and just reaches right to the core of what it is that you are trying to achieve. If there's anything that you have been sort of putting off, a meeting, an interview that you know you got to do, this is the week to get it done. In the middle of the week. You want to wait until early in the week. We've got this conversation between Mercury and Saturn. You want that to pass. However, once we get you to the middle of the week, that's where the power is. You reach a sweet spot, and just about anything you want can be yours. Now, you are going to have to focus yourself. You are going to have to say, what matters? What do I really want? And what do I really want to achieve? Now, this is about going big. You know, it said, go big or go home. Well, this is for you, definitely this week. Go big or forget about it. Go big towards what it is that you desire to have, or to be, or to do, and make some sort of statement, whether it's directly to a person, whether it's an application, whether it's just to the universe. Make some sort of statement that this is what you're going for, and you are going to find that you've got tremendous cosmic help this week to accomplish just about anything it is that you choose. Where it comes to love this week, we have Venus moving into the very bottom of your chart, and this suggests to me a real desire to feel at home in love and want to be in love at home as well. And so to me, this is, if you're getting to know somebody, this is you wanting to spend more time alone with them, wanting to be in the comfort of the home as well, wanting to see how they live. If you are right now in an established bond, this is just spending some alone time, really, like cooking and just being on the couch and just watching TV together. There's a quietness now. If you are open to meeting somebody new, this could very well bring an interest in someone that you've already been connected to in the past. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we've got the sun in your sign speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto. Now, those of you born smack dab in the middle of your sign, okay, so right around the 5th or so of the month, if you're born smack dab in the middle of your sign, this is especially fortunate for you. So if you're celebrating your birthday right around this week, this becomes especially fortunate for you, not only this week, but for the entire year. But all Taurians will benefit from this energy. To me, this is about you having an absolute conviction in where you want to go, about a vision for your life, and about an adventure that you want to take on. What projects of yours are going to matter to you? What is it that is close to your idea of what's going to create greater happiness in your life? And what do you have to do to get there? So this is about understanding what needs to happen now so that you can put all the things in place to manifest great things a little bit further down the road. Now, those of you who are sort of open to, I know sometimes, depending on what career you're going for, mentor. This is very mentor energy. So this could be aligning with the right person who either just gives you the right advice sort of spontaneously, or this can actually be connecting with somebody in a more meaningful way, finding somebody that you can emulate, that you can work with. And by work with, I mean that you can study with even, but someone whom you desire to have as part of your life as you work towards being who it is that you desire to be, someone you can learn with a little bit more intimately as well. Also really great sky for you to undertake a process of learning as well. And also legal claims, I gotta say, if you have any kind of legal claim that you are trying to make, just know that we do have Mercury in shadow. So I'm not saying that things are gonna be completely smooth. You may have to go back and sort of cross some T's, dot some I's, but for all that, you've got some really great energy for hearing some good news in a legal matter, or even considering initiating a legal matter with a lot of cosmic support to have things go very much in your favor. In love, we have Venus, your ruling planet, changing signs, moving to a decidedly communicative part of the sky, chatty part of the sky. This is great if you're looking to make connections online. This is great for exchanging messages. This is really great for having heart-to-heart talks that are going to matter to both of you. Hello, fabulous Gemini. Well, it's a big week for you on a lot of fronts. On one front, Mercury's in your sign. Your ruling planet in your sign goes into shadow. On another front, Mercury will, at the start of the week, be speaking with Saturn. Towards the end of the week, be speaking with Neptune. I put these together, and it suggests to me that there is a lot of needing to be honest with yourself happening this week. Needing to check your assumptions. Needing to be more direct, but needing to understand how much of what you think you're being direct about has nothing to do with the other person and so much to do with you. And I do think that there's going to likely be some sort of a interaction with a partner of sorts, business or love, some sort of interaction that leads you to have your own version of a reality check, that leads you to say, okay, this is where I am in this connection, in this alliance, in this relationship. How do I feel about that? Am I okay with that? Do I want to keep going forward with this? So there is sort of this moment of honesty, but it does look like as we get towards the end of the week, things might not be so clear for you, and that's really okay because you are now in a process of sort of fine-tuning and sort of deciding what is going to work for you in your future, what isn't, who you are, who you aren't, what does resonate as truly right for you and what doesn't. And so there's likely to be sort of an interaction which should very much be welcomed by you. An interaction with another key person that gets you really thinking along new lines, thinking about what you want to do, who you are, where you want to go. And so embrace that process. Even if it feels tough at the beginning of the week, that energy will give way to a sense of inspiration, a sense of purpose. You might not even be able to put your finger on it, but you will know in your spirit that everything is going to be okay, and it certainly will be. Where it comes to love this week, it really is about that conversation, as I said, between Mercury and Saturn at the start of the week. Tough conversation, tough time to really say, okay, where are you with where we are? If you are open to meeting somebody new, then this is you being honest with yourself, possibly through a key conversation, about how it is you are where you are and what it is within you that needs to change if you're going to move yourself towards greater love. Hello, fabulous Cancer. Well, this week we have got Venus moving into your sign. Now, this is good all around for love. This is good for love. This is good for softening life, making life feel a little bit more joyful, feeling like life is flowing a little bit more easier. This is certainly a time, I got to say, even with Mercury in shadow, if you are so inclined, be out and about. You might find yourself like surprised at how attractive you are. You're just wearing your sweats or whatever, you might actually surprise yourself by who you end up connecting with, or just in a very random way, kind of getting some very positive affirmation that at least leaves you feeling really good about yourself, having some pleasant interactions. Pleasantries all around tend to go really well when Venus is in our sign, as it will be for you starting this week. What we also have happening this week is a conversation between Pluto and the Sun. I look at this is all around great for love as well, for deciding and being clear on what was, where you are now, and where it is that you want to go, making a powerful change towards creating the kind of love that really reaches right to the core of you, for actually understanding what changes need to happen within an established bond or within you that are going to move you towards a stronger sense of partnership. Now, this process might very well be facilitated by a friend. So again, lots of energy in the sky saying, you know, if you're in any kind of inertia, move beyond it, get social. You'll be glad for it. You'll be glad to have these new experiences that end up encouraging you to see yourself and your life differently and in a better way as well. Hello, fabulous Leo. This week we have got your ruling planet, the Sun, speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto. I think that you are going to be at your absolute best and able to bring your absolute A game, especially where it comes to your career or work or achieving something that matters to you. I mean, if ever there was a time for you to be running a marathon, if you've trained for it and you've wanted it and this is what you want to achieve, this would be it, smack dab in the middle of the week. Lots of cosmic support to have really positive outcomes all around, whether you're an athlete or whether the competition is a little bit more personal within yourself. What it is that you want and what it is you desire to focus on now has a lot of support for actually coming about. So it's going to be up to you to really focus your mind, put any distractions to the side. It does look like, as I spoke about in the monthly horoscope, on the home front, there's a little bit of scrambling, a little bit of trying to figure out the best way forward. If you can calm that, work with that energy to the best of your ability, but once you know that plan forward, once you know what you're doing, let it go and focus on where your power is. And this week, your power really is in the direction of career achievements and work achievements as well. There should be more than enough work for you if that is something you want. Others of you are going to really experience this more having to do with life purpose, having to do with a clearer understanding of your direction, having to do with a clearer understanding of what it is that is worth achieving, and feeling a sense of support in doing just that, understanding what you need to start doing on a sort of everyday level if you're going to move yourself in that direction that you desire. Where it comes to love this week, the love energy goes a little bit underground, goes a little bit quiet for you this week, and it gets even a little bit secretive as well. So this is a really great energy if you are looking to release somebody from your past. So if you have been sort of hanging on energetically or otherwise, need to have that final bit of forgiveness, that final bit of energetic letting go in a relationship, this is a week when you've got lots of cosmic support to make that happen. If you are open to meeting somebody new, just know that the energy is a little laid back right now. We're starting right now. And what does take place, it does look like, again, there's a secretive quality to it. So if you're doing something a little bit behind the scenes, a little bit under the surface, that seems to be where a lot of the romance is. Maybe even this is if you're in an established bond, just carving out a little quiet time without other people knowing about it, maybe playing hooky at work a little bit so that you have that little private time with the person that you care about. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week we have got the sun speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto. I think this is where the great opportunities are all around for all of us in our own ways, in our own areas of life. For you, this is taking place in really harmonious positions, fellow earth signs. This suggests to me that you're feeling in your element. The best of you is coming forward. You're feeling sharp. You're feeling clear. You understand who you are, what you want to do, what needs to be done so that you can move yourself towards really whatever it is you want, whatever gain you're trying to make. You've got that cosmic support to make it happen. Now, you are going to have to, as sometimes happens, sort of make it over your own sense of self-doubt, your own sense of not being sure. And this to me is indicated by what your ruling planet is doing. So at the start of the week, your ruling planet is speaking with Saturn. At the end of the week, speaking with Neptune. You put this together and it suggests to me that there is going to be a need for you to sort of be mindful not to take other people's stuff on, is really what this comes down to. It's like a part of you is going to be really sensitive. A part of you might be feeling like there's some pressure that might not even actually be there, that you might disappoint somebody, which might not even be the case. The news that you get now as well might not even be that clear. You might not even be that sure. Trust me, you don't need to be. What you don't know, you don't need to know right now, is what it really comes down to. I was just reminded of some lyrics as I said that from the YouTube song Beautiful Day. I loved that song for the longest time. And in that song, he says, what you don't have, you don't need it now. What you don't know, you can feel somehow. Well, I would say, yes, that is true. But at the same time, I think that some of what you feel might actually be sort of oriented by fears or questions rather than being real grounded in the truth. And so this is how you can connect with truth for you, is you decide what your truth is going to be for right now. You decide where your power is, and you focus your energy on that area, because there are going to be a lot of little things around that seem to be distracting you, whether it's in love, whether it's at home. There's all these little factors that might be worrying you, that seem to be distracting you, that might be asking for some of your energy, and you've got to decide what's worth actually giving your very precious energy to. If you can do that, really, this is a time when you can make some tremendous strides forward in just about any area you choose. As I said, we've got Sun and Pluto in fellow Earth signs, very much in your element. You are strong, you're bringing your best, you're bringing your A game. You are able to understand what happiness really is, what fulfillment really is. You're getting good news all around. That's where your energy needs to go. So if you can focus on that, you will maximize the opportunity in front of you now and understand the pathway towards what you really desire and take meaningful steps that actually move you there. Where it comes to love, lots of passion on offer this week, lots of passion. It's a really passionate time, especially in an intensely kind of way of an intense bonding and love can certainly take place now. If you're open to meeting somebody new, that can happen. If you are in an established bond, it really comes to prioritizing the shared values you have with this person and prioritizing that romance as well. Because if you make it too much about just the agreements and just what's sort of happening on a day-to-day level, okay, you do this, I do this, that's when you'll, again, end up sort of expending energy in ways it doesn't need to. That stuff will take care of itself. Instead, focus on the real opportunity that you have now to experience passion and intimacy, emotional intimacy as well with somebody that you are already connected to, somebody you care about. And again, for those of you hoping to meet somebody new, you may have a flirtation in the middle of the week that leaves a very strong impression. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week we have got your ruling planet moving into a key part of the sky for you. This has to do with how high you want to go in life. It has to do with career, direction, purpose. And so this is really understanding where you are in love, where you desire to go, and if your current circumstances fit that. And so where it doesn't, you'll have enough of a big picture to decide the best way forward. Where it does, you'll be strengthening a resolve with your partner as to how it is that you can move this bond forward with purpose and clarity and direction, how you together can accomplish something that matters to both of you. Also with this bond, I gotta say, if you're open to meeting somebody new, this tends to be a time when there's flirtations taking place with bosses, supervisors, power players, people whom you maybe even respect. And so enjoy it for what it's worth. It does look, as we move further into the month, Venus will start doing some having some interesting conversations with Pluto and Uranus. So try not to take anything too permanent right about now. If it's a flirtation and it's innocent, it's all good. What we also have happening this particular week is this very strong conversation. In addition to the full moon, I'm choosing not to focus on the full moon for the horoscopes because I did focus on them for the May horoscope. So you are going to want to have a look at that for a more complete picture of the energies ahead, how the sky is seeking to support you coming up this week. But what we do also have this week is a strong conversation between the Sun and Pluto. I look at this, and to me, this suggests that in some respects, the work is already done, if you will, okay? So this is having established a strong foundation. Now you're thinking about how to create wealth from that foundation. This is really good if you're trying to get financing for a home, and it's also really good if you're trying to sell a home. But also if you have any kind of home-based business, this is a time when you certainly could make that deal, maneuver a deal, reach for something and acquire it that certainly leads you towards greater prosperity. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. Well, this week there's a full moon in your sign. That's huge. That's going to really take up all your attention. It's really going to be the dominant energy now. I spoke about this in the May horoscope, so you are going to want to have a look at that because it does launch a very important time for you. So we've got that happening again. I did the monthly horoscopes on that, so you are going to want to have a look at that. In other news this week, what we do have is you running into the right person at the right time. Is very strongly indicated. So this is a time to be social, to network, online or in person, to go to networking events, to go to places where you know that you may run into your neighbors, run into other people, do little errandy things this week. All of these are going to help you. Now, if you are open to love, this could be a very strong romantic connection that is made now. Certainly. If you are in an established bond, this too is having a key conversation, a key interaction with that person that you care about. If you are just thinking about this more in terms of like career, right? You're thinking more in terms of advancement. This could be a time when you sort of randomly get the right advice or meet that right person who really can make a big difference, whether it's just in the moment by giving you some amazing advice, or whether it's in the bigger picture by sticking around. Meet a person who really can make a big difference to make your work and what you do more effective, more purposeful, and allow you to convey whatever it is that you desire to share with that much more clarity, power, and purpose. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. This week we have got this very powerful conversation happening between the Sun and Pluto. Personally, one of my favorite conversations take place. But what's also happening this week is the Sun is speaking with Jupiter as well, your ruling planet, Jupiter. So I look at these together and it suggests to me that, and I'll just put it out there, something within you might feel like you got to do more. Something's not right. You wish you had the details down. You wish you could iron something out. You may not necessarily always be able to put your finger on it, I got to say, but there's a part of you that is having an understanding that something's got to change in sort of your day-to-day life. If you're going to move yourself towards a more optimistic future, achieve the things that you desire, start putting those things into place so that you can achieve even bigger things. So that's what I see sort of playing out in the immediacy. But what's also really interesting is, as I said, we have this very positive conversation taking place, suggesting to me that the money you need is there. The opportunity you need is there. This is great if you're trying to do any kind of interview situation and knock it out of the park. This is really great if you know that you could sort of change jobs that would allow you to create greater prosperity for yourself, doing something that you know that you're really good at and can do. And so this is really great if you're just trying to get a job or secure the place that you already have or make any kind of advancements all around. Lots of support to make that happen. You are going to have to overcome a little bit of your own insecurity. Like, can you really do it? Have you really proven yourself? Do you have all the skills in place? All of this type of conversation. You are going to have to overcome that, but if you can do that, you are going to find that there's lots of cosmic support on your side to move yourself towards greater prosperity. Where it comes to love, I think that Mercury moving into shadow in your opposite sign, speaking with Saturn in your sign, speaking with Neptune, all of this suggests that you're working on your relationships. You're trying to find ways to talk, to grow together, to see things accurately, see where you are in love accurately as well. Sort of face any of your own fears is going to be part of this week, but also face any of your own disappointments as well and what that says about you, where you have participated in that. So this is if you're open to meeting somebody new, if you're single, this is you looking at the past with a whole other lens because now you're reconsidering. Mercury's in shadow, you're reconsidering where you've been in love. If you are in an established bond, you are evaluating that in some key ways, but there is an understanding that you're trying to build towards something that's more optimistic, more strong, more secure. You've got to trust that process. Even if it feels like it's not going as fast as you'd like, you've got to trust that you've built something so far and that you can continue to work that takes both of you in a positive direction towards greater closeness and towards the shared goals and dreams that you have. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. This week we have got the Sun speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto in your sign. Regardless of what else is happening, regardless of what else might not feel so comfortable all the time, which is part of the week and part of life, really. What I love about this particular week is that you really have a grasp on where your power is. You're focusing yourself. There's a sense of purpose, sense of clarity, sense of direction. And it comes down to you trusting your instincts. There's a sense of self-trust that's taking root now that really is guiding you to achieve something that matters to you, that feels very important to you as well. So we've got this wonderful support happening. You are one of the signs who's going to make the most of this. Whatever it is that you desire, whether you're going for it, you're asking for it, you want to achieve it, whatever that thing is, make the effort, take a step. You will have that certain magic on your side that can just get right to the goal and see right through any kind of fluff to understand what needs to be done to get you where it is that you desire to go. So lots of cosmic support to make really powerful changes on your part. Now this conversation is also really good for love. It's really good for love. It's good for romance. It's that type of love. You add to this Venus moving into your opposite sign. It's good for love all around. If you want to meet somebody new, you could have a really powerful sort of interaction or flirtation. If you are in an established bond, this is the romance coming back, feeling a sense of safety and feeling a sense of softness in that established bond. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. This week, I do feel like part of me just wants to say to you, you've done what you needed to do. You have put the things in place that you needed to, and that there are rewards coming in now. There are career victories coming in now, certainly. But you are going to have to trust that they are falling into place exactly as they need to. You are going to have to trust that you've sown that good karma that you needed to, and that you have the foundations into place from which you can grow from. Yes, there is this full moon happening at the very top of your sky. You're understanding your direction, your purpose that much more clearly. On a practical level, you're achieving something that matters to you. It's a time of fruition, especially of things that you might have put into place going back 6 months ago. And yet, having said that, what we also have taking place this week is this harmonious conversation between the Sun and Pluto, which is a very ultimately placed in very quiet parts of your sky. So what I mean by that is they're placed in parts of the sky for you that have to do with what's already done, what's in the past, what has secured where you stand right now. For some of you on a very literal level, one very, again, literal way to understand this, is finding a great home or changing the way you feel about your home, in the best possible sense, or making changes to the home that resonate very strongly to you, that feel really right to you as well. For others, this is going to take place a little bit more personally. It has more to do with getting good news around family, especially family of origin, especially parents, where that might apply. But also just on an emotional level, it has to do with feeling more at home, feeling a shift in energy, feeling an understanding that ultimately there is something within you that maybe has been resisting exactly where you are, and then feeling an adjustment take place. Now, it is likely to be connected to some sort of achievement or accomplishment, some sort of boost in confidence that lets you know you're on the right path, that lets you know you're accomplishing something that's worthy, that matters to you. But ultimately, this is like a lot of support. I'm just seeing like angels working on your behalf and making some powerful changes on your behalf to move your life towards greater strength, greater direction, greater achievement, and greater prosperity as well. In love, we do have Mercury now moving through a part of the sky that has to do with romance and making some interesting connections and conversations all around with Saturn and with Neptune. I gotta say, this isn't always the easiest energy, I'll be honest with you. The Sun also speaking with Jupiter as well. So it looks like there might be some sort of inflated expectations that you're gonna have to check, okay? You're gonna have to be honest with yourself, sort of rein it in a little bit. There might be, not only is this about like sort of inflated expectations, but just being honest with yourself about where it is that you are in love and why it is that you are there, and being really thoroughly able to acknowledge that to either another person, whether that's the person you're actually in a relationship with or otherwise. Now, ultimately, a lot of the, there is some, to be very honest with you, there's some energy playing out here, especially later in the week, that to me speaks to maybe spending a lot of money, thinking like if you're on a date with somebody and you're spending a lot of money thinking that this is going to somehow win you some favor, you want to watch that. That seems like a likely scenario there. It's only going to lead to disappointment. Ultimately, if someone loves you, they're going to love you for you and as you are. You shouldn't have to buy love from anybody ever. And if anything within you feels that that's what's taking place, you've got to strive to be honest with yourself about that. And so it could be that somebody you love, romantically speaking, now this doesn't look like an established partner necessarily would do this, but it does look like if you're in a dating situation, you may be asked for some money and have some mixed feelings about it. Trust those mixed feelings. I gotta say, trust those mixed feelings, because anybody who's going to love you will love you even if you say, no, I'm sorry, I can't pay that bill for you. You got to do that yourself. They're still going to love you. If they're going to love you, they're going to love you. It's not about the paying the bills, So you're going to want to be mindful of that. And also you're going to want to be mindful of where it is maybe you are overcompensating. You think that you need to spend more or give more, or maybe even make a statement that you have more, as a way of saying, I am worthy of love, you're better off with me. These are messages you're going to want to watch, okay? So ground yourself in knowing that you have a sense of self and you have something within you that is more than enough to have the love that you desire, and you will find yourself having that affirmed instead. Hello, fabulous Pisces. This week we have got so much wonderful things, so much happening in the sky, really. It's a very active celestial sky. We've got this very powerful full moon happening in a fellow water sign for you. So there's a sense of adventure, a sense of what could be, a sense of enthusiasm for what could be that is there in the ether as well. But what I do really like about this week for you is that what we also have taking place is this ultimately really harmonious conversation happening between the Sun and Pluto that is speaking to parts of your sky that has to do with friends and networks and connections and communications. So make sure you're busy, you're out and about, because that's where the power is going to be. Some amazing opportunity could just fall in your lap as a result. Now, I do just want to give you a little bit of a heads up. We do have, towards the end of the week, a conversation taking place between Neptune in your sign and Mercury. Now, Mercury right now has entered shadow or will enter shadow early in the week. moving through part of the sky for you that has to do with home, foundation, parents as well. When I see something like this happening now, ordinarily, I like to say Mercury shadow, Mercury retrograde, don't, avoid large purchases. For you, especially on the home front, you really want to leave that stuff alone, avoid large purchases. I do want to say for some of you, a small percentage of you out there, when I see a conversation like this taking place, it can suggest water issues, okay? So make sure that you know that your whole home system is tight, right? It's a great time for repair, to consider what repairs might need to happen. But this can sometimes sort of indicate one way that this energy can manifest. But another way this energy can manifest is just taking a lot of energy, your home and the home issues, taking a lot of energy that needn't be so. And so strive to, where you can, put off any kind of major, like a new sort of having a whole new part of the house put on, or moving, buying, selling, these types of things. You just want to hold off on that a little bit. It does look like as we get you to the late part of the week, you might, again, I'm always going to be honest with you, but it does look like in matters related to home, there might be some news that is a little bit less than thrilling, that you're not really sure you know what to do with. Well, don't worry about that. Just continue to walk. There's lots of cosmic support still to make amazing things happen for yourself. So if something like that should manifest for you, remember, talk. That's where your power is. Talk. Be with people now, socialize, whether it's an actual fun event, or whether it's just, connecting with people that you are connected to through alliances and groups and such. This is a time for you to experience some really powerful connections taking place that help you understand personally and in just about every area of life how to change your situation very much to your liking. Where it comes to love this week, we do have the ruling planet of your opposite sign having some interesting conversations all around. Again, highlighting these parts of the sky as well. And so the main message I get from this is don't rush commitment. Don't rush commitment. I think that there's going to be some of you out there that have such a strong desire to sort of be at home with this person or protect what you have, that you may end up sort of diverting the really great energy that is there in love. And what's great in love this week is that Venus enters a very romantic part of the sky. So keep it light, keep it romantic, regardless of your situation right now. If you are open to meeting somebody new, this is, again, about flirting. This is about meeting people. This is about feeling like you are going to work on your confidence and bring your confident self wherever you go and enjoy the company of the people around you. This is also about, if you're in an established bond or dating somebody, enjoying that. Just enjoy that process. Don't try to sort of say, okay, let's move in now, or am I living with you, or what's going on here, and, let's split the bills. Don't do any of that. Just relax that whole conversation. Instead, have fun, because ultimately it is those light moments that sweeten the path and that make love something that actually adds a tremendous amount to your life as well. Well, thank you so much to all signs out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.